Let me put it up in the sky so it looks bigger. Man, that feels so weird. It's 100 degrees today in South Alabama. I don't actually know the temperature, but cheap cameras are the best! There happens to be some sort of side-by-side company that really sees these vlogs and they're like, oh man, 100 people watch this? We'd love to have our side-by-sides on this channel. I will gladly drive it. I can't breathe. I'm so out of shape. Oh, thank the Lord. Ooh. Okay, welcome to the channel. Don't be like me. Drink water when it's hot. Not Mountain Dew. I just peed and it pretty much looked like motor oil. So if I don't make it, it's been fun.
Hogs right there.
Oh yeah, guys, we found the absolute monster of the property while we were walking back from those turkeys. Look at that. Oh, let me put it up in the sky so it looks bigger. I know y'all can't tell, but this is an absolute giant. Look. Spikezilla, baby. Let's go. We're on off the heater. This is 2 times where we've had Jason with us and we found spike sheds. Let's go, baby. Cheap cameras are the best. Come on, man. Who's in charge of keeping this junk weed eated? Embarrassing. Unacceptable. Lazy. Good for nothing. Oh, look at that. Look at how much better that is from last week. Somebody made time out of their day to come and weed eat. How about that? I mean, teamwork makes the dream work. It was me. I was trying to get it to turn on. So I use a GoPro Hero 11 out here, and I have a backup camera, which is this, which we affectionately refer to as the No Pro, and we just lost it in that. However, we found all the pieces. She should be good to go. So I don't really want him to bite my face, you know. That doesn't seem like it'd be very fun. We're chill, bro. All right, guys. So obviously we've got another friendly. Do you want to hold him? No. Okay. Crossing the road, keeping the rats at bay. This is a good sign that it's still hot enough for snakes to be out. We've been watching for old rattlesnake. Can't find him. This guy, he hadn't even tried to bite me. I mean, very, very cool. So we're gonna go ahead and let him go. But there he is, hanging out. I think it's a king snake, but I'm not a snake expert, so I'm pretty sure he's pissed on me. But anyways. Oh man, come here, bro. this good news bee did want to share the good news with us. I'm not sure what the good news is, but we sure enough about to walk up out of here. I mean, that thing's humongous. Okay. Anyways, I have no idea what these are actually called. We call them banana spiders. Man, that feels so weird. The less we're out here in the off season, the higher the chance is that you show back up and you're driving one of the roads and you eat one of those right in your face. We're pretty sure that's why my youngest brother, Miles, quit hunting, was because he was sitting on the front of the four-wheeler with my dad and they were driving along and he ate one of those. He was basically the lane clear. Keep seeing these bugs and I try and catch up to them and I'm just not fast enough today. Could have been an all-timer. I just saw the mean bug off A Bug's Life. I don't remember his name, but he flew away. Missed opportunities. It's so hot. The field we just left right up there, walking along. See a little something shining. Balloon. I'm gonna leave it there. Anybody believe in the idea that if you can find balloons because of the way that the thermals are taking those balloons, you can find big bucks? Anybody in that camp? Anybody know somebody in that camp? I don't know if it's true or not. There was a very heavy deer trail right there though. So we'll leave it there. Then there, oh boy. Then there, oh boy. I mean, I could have just died. Trip on the stump. Anyways. What were we talking about? Flare won't crank. Engine's overheating. We're probably gonna have to walk out. Tough week last week. We had this right here going on. Pretty good over here.
Now it's been bent.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, your shaft's bent over there?
You remember a long time ago, Matt?
Whoa, bent shaft, Larry. Never good. Welcome to the channel. There's hogs right here. Daggone. I don't know, probably 2 or 3 big ones. 8 to 10 small ones. They were just chilling there at the feeder. I can't breathe. I'm so out of shape. Oh, okay, good Lord. From last week, going to move this tree out of the road, and the deer hammering it. Look at this. That had leaves all on it. Leaves all on it. Leaves. Look at how they picked it clean. It's crazy. Somebody tell me what this tree is so I can chop a couple down and lay it in the field before I hunt in the fall. Ooh, okay. So y'all missed that, but I got in and I shut the door and wasps went everywhere. Believe they are guinea wasps, but oh dang, get off me. We're gonna have to address that first. Oh, dadgummit. Sorry. You got me in my back. Oh, dadgummit. Okay. Now I'm paranoid. I'm gonna get some spray. Oh, you suckers are about to die. Dual wielding. All right. We've got some stragglers like that guy over there. But we are installing the kill cam. Alright, so the plan is I'm going to take out this one straggler on that opposite window, and then I will spray dual wielding Mustang and Sally on the other nest. Here we go. Alright, one down. I believe that's going to do the trick. Another deer across the road. So I have jumped out of the side-by-side, climbed up on top of the side-by-side to try and see him, but I don't. He was running. Pretty buck. I mean, probably 2-3 year old beautiful deer. Look like an 8, and they look so nice in the velvet. I will probably, well, I don't want to promise you that I have pictures of them, but there's a feeder down the draw up through the planted pines, short planted pines, in the middle of the taller planted pines that I think I've seen him at. I'm trying to see his tracks. There are a lot of deer tracks in here. Always a good time when you're seeing deer. Okay, I had a buck. It's probably been 6-7 years ago. I was hunting here, opening morning of bow season, and he came in, I don't know, 42 yards or something like that. I didn't shoot at him. I wasn't confident at that range at that point, and I figured we may get a chance at him later in the season. So season went on, and then my uncle from Mississippi came over and shot him. We'll show a picture. Terminator is what we called him, because at the end of the season before, he got all beat up and blind in one eye. I was like swollen. I don't actually know if I have pictures of that anymore, but he was blind in that eye the rest of his life, the next year. But I came in here, and this is my tree I like to climb. I'll climb up this side, and then maybe you can see an easy hanger up in here. I'll be sitting on this side. You can kind of put your feet out and lean them on this side, looking maybe 65, 70 yards that way. The draw kind of wraps around this way in the planted pines. And then seems like they do a lot of heavy bedding this direction. It's really thick. Planted pines coming in to our property line, 120-ish yards that way, and then it's just beautiful acorn dropping trees to my right, because I'm left-handed, so I'm looking this way. I'm actually facing this way, so I can stand and turn and shoot this way. All this is money. You got that creek bed running along through here. A lot of good crossings along this creek. We've seen some good deer in here over the years. It's beautiful in here. Okay. That'd have been way cooler if I caught up to one of those. I really hope y'all can see them at least. I kind of hit record and jumped off because they were just standing there right off the edge of the field. I know we'll have trail cam pictures of the group that I saw, but it would be nice if y'all could actually see them in the video. All right, rolling on. We're gonna get after them. I can't wait. I mean, it's 100 degrees today in South Alabama. I don't actually know the temperature, but I feel like it's 100 degrees. I've been weed eating. If we put this part before the weed eating, then I'm sorry for that big time spoiler, but I mean, it's hot, dude. Who in their right mind would be out here working on the land? You and me. We're killing bucks this year. The neighbor might have more money than us, more time than us, better equipment than us. He ain't gonna outwork us, guaranteed. Let's go. All right, we're hanging out. We got Jason down here. Awesome dude, member of the club. And he's working really hard today, slinging feed. And I'm basically just changing SD cards. But we want to do something a little different when we have people out here hanging out. Probably going to have a lot of different people doing that. I'm going to ask them some questions and see what they answer. So, question number 1, Jason.
All right.
What's your favorite part about the off season when it comes to just working the land or whatever?
My favorite part is leads up right to season. It's running the tractors and planting the fields, but it's hard to beat getting pictures back through through the off season, but I do love running the tractor.
Heard that. He actually probably about an hour ago was like, man, I can't wait till I get to be on the bush hog. So
Yep.
that's awesome. All right. Number 2, who kills the biggest buck on the property this year?
Oh man. Man, I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna play odds on.
Okay.
Hasn't killed in a while.
I like it.
So I think we're gonna go Daniel.
Let's go. Daniel Dean.
Daniel Dean.
Spike Slayer extraordinaire.
Curse broke though.
All right. Question number 3, who kills the smallest buck on the property?
Oh man, I think we're gonna have to go with the odds on that one too. There's a guy that's stepping back into his role, and I think David Strahan
Man, full name,
will
huh?
come through with the smallest deer of the year. I hope not, but the odds are in his favor.
I mean, it's either him or D.
It's possible D could be in the running there.
That is my dad. And now listen, my dad kept this place alive forever. I will fight people tooth and nail. Like, he can shoot whatever he wants in my book, but he's been known to have a...
It's exciting.
Yes. Man, I don't know who it was, but I just shot a giant.
I guess there's something you just don't want to lose that, and he hadn't lost it.
That's right. He is a killer at heart.
Yep.
All right. Question number 4. So Florida is going to start hunting in a couple weeks. Is it too hot to be in the stand?
Again, we'll reference what I just said a little bit ago. Man, I hate the heat. I am not a fan of the heat, and I would go with yes, it is too hot to be in the stand.
If you're in Florida and you're about to climb into a lock on, got your saddle, box, doesn't matter. Box will probably be the worst, but man, good luck. I hope
more power to you. Yeah.
That the clouds are thick. Maybe even it rains. I mean, I would be all for that as opposed to, 100 degrees in the deer stand. And then number 5, these are quick and easy. What's one goal you have for this season? So before you answer, 2 years ago? Yep. 2 years ago, Jason, he had never killed a 200-pound deer, which our deer max out at 215 to 220 is going to be our biggest buck. Some of them never get to 200 pounds. Jason was going into the year. He's like, I want to kill a 200-pound deer. I want to kill a 200-pound deer. We can post pictures of the 2 bucks he killed. We called one Prodigy. We called the other one Old Split Toe as a tip of the cap nod to TK and Mike. But he was after those 2 bucks. One of those 2 bucks. I guess like he wanted to kill one of those 2 bucks. We thought they were 200 pounds. Both of them tipped the scale as one of them was 201 pounds, and then you killed one later on in the year, but he was like 180 something after the rut. Like definitely 200-pound buck. Killed the 2 target bucks that he was after. The story's even cooler because we had a bachelor group way back, probably, I don't know, it's 6-7 years ago, of 4 bucks in it. And one of them was a shooter. Jason killed him. We called him Mega 7. The other 3 ended up becoming shooters along the way. And 2 of the bucks that were in that bachelor group way back were Old Split Toe and Prodigy. And then some other guy shot the 4th buck and we couldn't find him. So that whole bachelor group, we watched them grow to maturity, and Jason killed 3 of them. So that's just unbelievable. What one goal for this year, going into the season that you're trying to accomplish?
So this year, and I tried to accomplish this last year. So coming off that high the year before, but my son is now, he was 11 last year. He's 12 this year. We're trying to get him his first buck, whether it be a bow kill or a gun kill. We're still trying to do that, but I think great opportunities in bow season for us. So I'm going to really try to hunt with him a lot and be in the stand with him and try to get him his first buck this year.
Love it. So just so you know, I didn't tell him what the questions were. I knew Jason was going to say that as the goal for this year, and it's awesome just to hunt with guys that, obviously that's his blood relative. That's his son. So he really wants the best for him. But like just to hunt with guys that value other people, you know, just to be able to look past himself. And man, I would go without killing a buck for 5 years if Jackson could kill a buck this year. I think that'd be incredible. I mean, he shot probably a few years ago, he shot a buttonhead and he wanted the skull. He wanted to keep the Euro out. Yep. Like, he's just deep in it. Yep. Loves being down here. So that's awesome. And that concludes our 5 questions. Good times. I'd guess we're 1,200 yards from the cabin. Could be worse. Gonna be quite the vlog this week. We are walking out. We got an older guy in our club. He had double hip replacement, and he comes down here, and I mean, he gets after it. He could have fixed that Polaris for sure. I don't know what's wrong with it, but whatever it is, Larry, or Lair Dog, as we affectionately refer to him as, he could have fixed it. Larry don't even shoot bucks anymore. I guess he's lived the life and he's happy with what he's killed. And I hope I'm doing anything when I'm Larry's age. He gets out, chases turkeys, chases deer, works his butt off in the off season when we're planting, bush hogging, gets in trouble for it. But I don't know. I just want to be out here, and I can't imagine it not being part of my life. So people like that really kind of inspire you to not take yourself too seriously and to allow yourself to be amazed with being out here. Hogs. Am I quite possibly searching harder to find positive things to think about as I make this journey? Probably so. We practice shooting. Hopefully you practice shooting the different weapons you're going to use during the season. But you can't really prepare for when everything goes wrong and you've blown it, or nothing went the way you expected it to. So that's what we're doing right now. Grit and perseverance are underrated, but we're working on them today, boys. I'm really thankful, and I consistently try to make sure I understand how blessed I am to get to do this. Blessed that I was born into a family with a dad that not only loved hunting, but believed in the disciplines that hunting teaches and that you learn through hunting. It doesn't escape me that, you know, there's guys out there and girls that will never get an opportunity to experience what it's like to go hunting. Guys out there that maybe want to get into hunting but don't know where to start. I would confidently say that it's getting harder and harder. It's getting more and more expensive for sure, and opportunities are limited more and more each day. If you've never tried, if you've never had any experience in it, find someone that loves it. If you overhear somebody talking about it, man, there's just nothing like it. The peace when you're out here is found nowhere else. The adrenaline rush that comes when you're face to face with a deer is just, it never gets old. When that gets old to me, that'll be time for me to do something else, but I hope it never does. I mean, there's nothing like it. I was so young, I don't remember the first deer I ever killed, but I remember when I was really young, you know, you shoot and it doesn't matter. It could be 90 degrees outside, but just the adrenaline, that rush that comes from it. And, you know, a lot of times you get cold and you're like, what in the world is happening to me? And it's just uncontrollable and outside of something illegal. I don't know where you can find it anywhere else. I love it. And I'm so blessed to be able to have a place I can go where I've gotten to make it, sort of help mold it and make it something that's really special to me. If you've hunted for 20 years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Today's sort of hunting culture feels like we're fighting more than we're working together on a lot of stuff, but passing it on to other people, I still think is important, whatever that looks like. Finding guys that maybe wouldn't have that opportunity, that you can get out there and give them an experience that, from the camaraderie between the people that are there, just the stewardship of land and conservation that goes into, whether it be population control. I think we're past the point of it's cheaper to deer hunt and provide meat. I think we're probably past that point, most of us, but just the experience, there's nothing like it. And I'm so blessed that, like I said, my dad loved it and instilled it in me. And we're probably a little deeper than most guys get in their journey. But wherever you are on the scale of, you know, I get to go once a year, or as far down the path as like, man, my granddad, I remember him hunting and it was such a special experience, and I can't imagine being anywhere else in the fall. You'll hear me complain probably about the heat in this video, and it doesn't escape me that there's just guys out there that will never have an opportunity to experience putting the work in and then having the payoff at the end. And there's just no place I'd rather be. I mean, besides like here, maybe 3 months from now, when it's like 40 degrees cooler. Other than that, there's no place I'd rather be than right here. Last resort, I'm out of options. I got the battery on the tractor charging. I would really like for that to crank when I get back, so I can drag the Samurai up into the yard. But we're giving it a shot. We're gonna try the old beater, boys. And drive in there. We can't go everywhere, but wish me luck. Made it in here. I think we can make it out. It does not crank. We are super close to that feeder. So I'm gonna try and push it out of the way. Y'all ever seen a Chevy Aveo tow a Polaris Ranger? About to. Don't try this at home. All right, so I mean, it's a little further away. I'm sure the deer will be fine for a week. Tough times. It's a no-go. I'm gonna walk up there and change the SD cards out of the cameras. But if I get stuck, there's two cameras over here, a boss buck and a trough in 2 different places. But if I get stuck over here, I'm not going to be able to get myself out. So I had to make a business decision. But I want the SD cards because hopefully by the time y'all are seeing this, we've posted an August antler growth update on Monday. So that's why I'm about to walk a couple miles to get these 2 cards, and then I don't know how I'm gonna get the other. I got 3 more cards that I would really love to get. One of them is that new buck I mentioned. So if y'all saw pictures of him earlier, that means I was successful in going to get those cards. Tough one today. Not our best showing. They're digging in that mineral lick. Bucks finishing off growing their antlers over the next 2 to 3 weeks where we're at, pulling different things as they need actually from their skeletal structure if they don't get it in the wild or in the wild naturally or from you and me. So there's debate on how much minerals actually benefit deer, but you look at the composition of their antlers and what they're actually made of, and also the way that they respond to a mineral, a quality mineral when you put it out. It's just hard to imagine it doesn't benefit them, in my opinion. What do I know? I'm gonna drive to the other side of the property as far as I can and walk into, I really want to go into that one spot. I don't know how I'm gonna get there. I may go around a different way, and then I'll let y'all know how long I've walked after this. I know there's people that walk a lot more, and probably people that exercise. I mean, who does that? Just kidding. It's good for you. You need to. But definitely makes it a little bit more difficult when you don't have any equipment that is operational. Look out now. Made it to a trough. Let's go, baby. We're back in action, sort of. A little sketchy, but the original plan for that car was to make it a hunting club vehicle. So it's got potential. Got that from my grandma. Actually, when she passed away, I got that car, and I just thought it was pretty awesome to have her, like, that was her everyday driver, but she never drove anywhere. And then because I already had a 64, is a 64 or 65 Ford F100 that my granddad, my papa, bought new off the lot. And so I bought it, you know, it was run down, but he had sold it, and so we went and found it, and I bought it. So I don't know, maybe that doesn't mean anything to you, but just the fact that I have 2 cars that kind of, a truck that meant something to my granddad, and then sort of the everyday driver that my grandma had. I don't know. So maybe they're looking down and they're like, man, look at that crazy fool driving around in the mud at the hunting land. Papaw for sure is laughing if he's watching. All right, came a little bit of a different way. I think I can get into the east wall easier from this direction, and I'm gonna bring 50 pounds of feed, haul it in there, get that SD card. We'll have the new big buck. Let's go. Dedication. I feel like this is a good time just to throw it out there. If there happens to be some sort of side-by-side company that really sees these vlogs and they're like, oh man, 100 people watch this? We'd love to have our side-by-sides on this channel. I will gladly drive it. Just walking back out. Nice little place where they're congregating, passing through, crossing. A lot of hardwoods in here. Acorn dropping trees, water oaks, pin oaks, white oaks. I know my dad's climbed in here before during early bow season, trying to get on them. There are heavy trails in here. Alright, we're walking back out. If I called this a shortcut earlier, I apologize for that mischaracterization. We getting there. Can't find it anywhere else. Just gotta get out there in it. Can't wait till deer season. Big track. All right, we're gonna try and get out of here. I just stepped in an ant bed. Can you imagine? I mean, I'm gonna walk back and show you so you don't think I'd plan that. Well, dang. Felt like an ant bed. And it wasn't, so now I look extra stupid. If you made it this far, I appreciate you extra. A long day, and I could have done it without you, but wouldn't have wanted to, you know what I'm saying? This is the first buck sign I've seen since probably June. So that's a good sign. Oh yeah, here we go. Figured, so this is a row bed we bush hog in and out of both ways. But here's another one. Pretty fresh. Probably within the last week since it rained on Friday. It's Monday. Today is Labor Day. It won't be for y'all, but Labor Day is when I'm recording this. So. Good sign. A little bit of buck activity starting up. We will get to start hunting October 15th. Not as fresh. Get to start hunting October 15th. And hopefully that weekend we got something to show for it. We gotta hunt bucks. Well, we gotta hunt bucks. We can't shoot does the first 10 days because of how late our does drop fawns. So we'll be locked in on bucks Wednesday through Friday. And trying to make it happen. I didn't even really look at this when I jumped off the side-by-side and started chasing those hogs that were standing in the bushes, but the spray definitely is working. A lot of death going on here. We got about 11, 12 more days before we bush hog, but that looks very good. If all the fields look like that, it'll be a huge win. The grass is going to be absolutely crispy by the time we bush hog. DED dead, on its way. I don't know if I got them or not. This first week of September, last week of August for us is an important time when we're talking about looking at cameras and checking SD cards, because this is where the majority of our hit list photos come from. The pictures that we kind of take and work through and decide which bucks we want to chase and which bucks might need a little more time. And so this week's pictures, which are from last week, and then the SD cards that I pull next week will kind of get us headed in the right direction, where I can start to build what our hit list looks like. So this is important for us. This is that time we're kind of there at their peak, or they're at their final stage of antler growth, or maybe they're actually finished growing their antlers. They're still velvet. Personally, for me, with the setup we have, a little kind of hack that I like to use. Dang. More and more bucks on around the property. A little hack that I like to use is, if we're chasing the buck, I prefer to have pictures of him in velvet. I know they look bigger, but that's kind of the point. I don't want him to walk out and he look any bigger than we thought he was. And then if they need some time, I prefer to, like, if we're like, man, this buck would be awesome if he could get a year. I like to have those bucks as, you know, hard horn, like their antlers are completely shed of velvet, and they maybe when they walk out they look bigger because you know, depending on, there's so many things that determine how big a buck looks on camera or how small he looks, but velvet is a big one. Like velvet pictures, they look a lot bigger when they're in velvet. So for me, I like to have our shooters in velvet and our non-shooters are the bucks that we kind of think we may want to pass on. And, you know, hard horn, just clean antlers. And we do a good job. I mean, we're not, no fines on our property. My dad's always been a strong believer in, you know, fines don't really fix the problem. And I am a strong believer in the idea of, like, we're going to build out a hit list, but if a guy views a buck as a trophy and he wants to shoot that deer and he's like, man, this is a trophy for me, I'm going to mount this deer, like, I'm never going to tell a guy, you know, you shouldn't have shot that buck. That's not really, I have no interest in that. I think a lot of the conversation around hunting in general has shifted to that. And I think a lot of well, two different camps that I'm not a big fan of. The camp of people that are in the like 1%, they have the just premium setup they've worked their entire life for, and they hunt incredible land in, you know, wherever, Iowa, Illinois, all your big buck states, and they're like, you should be doing this, you should be passing this, you shouldn't be shooting these deer. And it's like, man, that is not reality for 99% of the guys that are watching this. So I'm not a big fan of just blanket, like, do this, don't do this. And then the second group is all the keyboard warriors that, you know, no offense if this is you, but they've killed one or two bucks in their life, and they decide that they're gonna be an expert on all things hunting, and they're gonna talk crap about everybody and the ways that they hunt, and have no frame of reference for a region of the country or different factors that goes into the size of bucks that you're chasing. So for me, and on our property, we are trying to hunt mature bucks. We put a lot into management and supplemental feeding and watching deer for sometimes years, you know, sometimes 4 or 5 years. And with that investment comes the hope that we're hunting more and more mature bucks. Usually mature bucks can lead to bigger antlers. Not always the case. That is not a 100% guarantee at all. A lot of the times, dang! Tearing it up. A lot of the times, our biggest bucks are 4-year-olds when it comes to antlers. We have rare cases where bucks continue to grow into that 5-6-year-old age range. But our oldest bucks, I'll be chasing a couple of them this year. Our oldest bucks are a lot of times just beat to hell. I mean, their antlers have gone downhill once they hit that, you know, 6-year-old range. To me, there's still a great reward in chasing those bucks. Oftentimes, an even greater reward for me personally in chasing a buck that is 6-7 years old. For us, that's a, you know, 200 to 220 pound deer in South Alabama, versus chasing, you know, 165 to 170 pound 4-year-old that might be much prettier. You know, that 4-year-old might be 130 inches for us, and that 6-year-old honestly might be 50 or 60 inches, just jacked up. We got one this year that we've been hunting for 5 years now. We call him Mongrel. And just jacked up rack. It's been that way for 3 years now. And to me, that buck's won all the battles. So there's no telling how many hunters he's come in contact with and evaded them or outsmarted them, recognized that they were there, and he's won all the battles. He's gotten to a point in his life where he's headed downhill, and there's no bringing it back. Yeah, I think he's probably 7 years old, and for me, that's such an awesome buck to chase and to close the book on, because he's won the battle. Like, in the end, I would rather us harvest that buck and be able to close the book on him and finish the story on him, as opposed to him dying in a creek somewhere. But if it continues going the way it has been, I mean, we're not going to kill him. He's just too smart. But everybody does it different. But for us, the best way we figured out to do that is to build a hit list for everybody. We all work off the same thing. That makes it to where when someone shoots a buck that's on the hit list, there's no questions. That's you're excited about that, because it's so hard to get these bucks to maturity. And if you're not excited about that, this isn't the club for you. But that also makes it to where, like, we're not all on the same page in terms of experience. We all haven't killed the same number of deer. And there's guys in this club that view certain bucks as trophies that those of us that have just shot more deer might look at it differently. And for me, I'm not in the business of, telling a guy he shouldn't shoot a deer if he views it as a trophy. I think that is the dumbest thing in the world. And if you're a meat hunter, you're probably not still watching this. But we shoot tons of does. Like, I kill a bunch of does. I've killed 26, I think, the past 3 years. And I believe in shooting does. We have a bunch of does. We try and cut down those numbers, but that's where the meat comes from for me. And then the bucks are just in the setup we have. We have some bucks that I feel like are really great bucks. And once they reach that, age of maturity, we're trying to hunt them. I mean, hard. So, that's just kind of how I feel about it. I think we've gotten so skewed, like, and I don't know, what all goes into that. If you told me we couldn't use trail cameras at all anymore, I'd be fine with that. If you told me we couldn't bait anymore, I'd be fine with that. But I don't think any of those things have led to the negative sentiment that comes with a lot of where we're at today. I think it is just the mindset of guys, and they see it a certain way on TV or a YouTube channel, which I know that's where we're at right here. But they see it a certain way and they think it has to be done that way, or it's not being done right. And I just don't know if there is a right way. You go from East Coast to the Midwest to up north to the Southeast. There's a lot of different ways to hunt whitetail, and I think there's a lot of different right ways to hunt whitetail. And depending on the region you're in, you got to figure out what that looks like. If you're in, the Southeast, maybe the way we're doing it, you kind of resonates with you. And, maybe if you're not in that area, it doesn't. But that's sort of the mindset I have on it is this is supposed to be fun. And this is supposed to be, we're making memories and we're hanging out together. And there's such joy and peace that comes with being out here. And when you begin to police it in a way that it takes out that joy and that peace, and there's, whether it be drama between guys in a hunting club or just, you know, disagreements and fights. It just that's not the way that I feel like it's supposed to go. So we build a hit list. And like I said, why this is important is I build a hit list and then we work off that hit list. And like I said, there's a couple guys that might shoot a deer that is not on that hit list, and it's not like you're out of the club, you know. It's not like that. It's if it's a trophy to that person, then who am I to say that they shouldn't shoot it? I mean, that's just dumb. Like, you need to find better friends if if that's the case. Like, but that's just sort of my opinion on that. So that's why this time of year is really important, and why I'm trying to, you know, make the most of the opportunities to see what is out there, to try and age them correctly. There's no better time than right now to do that because they're still in bachelor groups. We got about 6 weeks left before we get to start hunting. And yeah, I mean, trying to make those decisions right now as opposed to in the field is the best way we've come up with to do that. I remember way back we were 6-pointer better. Then we moved to 8-pointer better. And then eventually, because there's just really big deer that don't meet that criteria, really old deer that don't meet that criteria. And we moved to trying to figure out what does a mature buck look like. And in the beginning, that started for us as let's try and shoot deer that are 180 pounds. And the more you hunt, the more you realize every 5-year-old, every 6-year-old deer is not going to be the same body length. Different body lengths lead to different weights. So it gets to the point where it's like, let's try and build history with these bucks. And most of the bucks that we'll be chasing this year, we will have years of history with, which is nice. We hunt private land, and if you're not in that same setup, I get that this doesn't relate to you, but we try and hunt bucks that we have years of history with, and we kind of have a good idea of what it looks like for us, for those, you know, 5-6-year-old bucks. And then every once in a while, a 4-year-old will sneak into that hit list. And there's going to be the buck that I will hunt opening week is a brand new deer. End of July, he came in, no idea who he is, but he's a tank. I mean, 100% mature buck, huge. For us, I say huge. Huge is relative. You know, huge to me is 130-inch 8-point. That's a huge deer for us. And man, if you love watching guys chase 120 to 130-inch deer, this channel is for you. And if you're like, those are the smallest deer I've ever seen, what am I doing? This channel's probably not for you. Like, that's just what we have in Grady, Alabama. So welcome to the channel. This grass being dead makes me so happy. Because we weren't going to come back and spray it again. So we were a little worried because it flooded both days. D was spraying on Thursday. It flooded, rained him out. And then we were all down here and he was spraying on Friday and rained him out again. So the fact that these fields are dying, huge win. So to add to and kind of cap off that conversation about our hit list, everyone is also not on the same page when it comes to how easy it is for them to identify deer under different bucks. And that comes really easy for some people and really hard for others. We have a couple that are pretty good at it and a couple that are horrendous at it. But for us, like, the best way I've figured out to do it is to make a shared photo album in photos, and then just dump them into there, kind of organize them, dump them into there. And the reason I like that, and I'm sure there's other ways you could do this, but the reason I like is once I put them up in there, and the different guys, let's say Jason opens his phone and they load into his photos, they don't ever have to load again. So once they load in that first time, he's got them. The different guys have them, and they can kind of look at them. And also, if we bring a guest and the member that they came with is brave enough to send them out on their own, it gives them sort of a point of reference. He can just invite them to that shared hit list and kind of say, in this area, here's a few bucks that we're kind of looking for. And then after I say all that, I'll say, in 40 years, when me and my buddies are on our deathbed, I don't think we will care one single bit that we shot that 4-year-old and didn't let him get it to 5. That is my personal thoughts on the situation. Now, we try hard to manage, and I encourage, if you've got private land, management goes a long way in the quality of deer that you'll see and, what you might run into on your property. But I just don't think it matters that much in the grand scheme of things. Like, if we're out here trying to make memories and have fun and, provide meat for our families, I've talked about that. I don't think it's cheaper to do it this way anymore, the way we're doing it. But if it's cheaper that way for you, that's awesome. For us, the way we're doing it is probably not cheaper. But we love it. And like, I just don't think it's going to be one of those deals where it's like, you see all these guys that have massive properties, and they're kind of trying to convince you with your 100 acres to pass on that 4-year-old so they can kill him when he's 5 or 6. I personally think that's ridiculous. So that's sort of the stance I take on that, and I'm certain there will be people that disagree with me, and that is not something that bothers me. I think there's much more important things and reasons why we're out here than something trivial like that. And of the bucks that are on our hit list this year, I mean, we'll probably have 15 to 18, depending on if there's some really, really nice deer that range in that haven't been here all off season. We could potentially get to 20. I don't think we will, but there may be a couple 4-year-olds, and the rest of those bucks are going to be 5 and 6. But at the end of the day, I just do not think it's life or death. Like you have to be doing this, and this, or you're not serious about it. I think that's kind of ridiculous. There's no doubt a lot better resources out there than this guy for this. But if you are out there and you're like, I want to start hunting for maturity versus just the way you've always done it, maybe this is this buck's antlers look nice, whatever. The first step and the hardest step for people is you got to throw the antlers out. I mean, you have to start looking at the body, and you have to start comparing the bodies of these bucks to each other. And odds are, depending on property size, odds are you can pretty much figure out what a mature buck looks like. You definitely can figure out what the oldest buck looks like and work from there. But if you have years of history on a property, for sure you can figure out this is what the oldest buck looks like. This is where, everything about him, length of the body, he looks taller than everybody else. Brisket, belly, a lot of times hump in their back. Neck size is going to be different throughout the year, not just in winter. But you gotta work towards throwing the antlers out. I like to, because there'll be some bucks that we know are young, and then older bucks, and I like to put something, take two different pictures, put them side by side, and put some kind of emoji blocking their head, their antlers, and ask guys, which one's the older buck. And a lot of times it's very difficult when you're comparing those bucks that are in that 4 to 6 range, depending on region of the country. For us, I do feel like it is more difficult at times because our scale goes to our heaviest deer we've ever killed on this property is, well, let's just go the last 15 years, 216 pounds. So our scale goes to 220 pounds. There's places in the country where their scale goes to 300 plus pounds live weight. So 300 pounds, that means there's going to be bigger gaps between age classes. So depending on where you are, it can be more or less difficult, but you got to begin to look at the body, throw the antlers out. And like I said, if you have years of history, then it should be pretty easy for you to do that. If it's a brand new property, I've talked to guys before that are setting up new properties, and people look at you like you're insane, but I'll tell guys, like, if it was me, I wouldn't kill any bucks the first 2 years. And I know that's hard, like, for guys to buy into, but after 2 years going into that third year, if you got a mega giant that's just insane, you make an exception. But after 2 years moving into that third year, you should have enough data, and you should have bucks that have moved up in the age class to where you're looking at bucks of all ages. And like, property size can dictate some of that, but if you have a decent sized piece of property, bucks, when they get to those older ages, it's not because they're stupid. They figure out holes to live in where people can't find them. And for me, you got to begin to prioritize what actually matters, and begin to place priority on things that are more controllable, I'd say. So, like, things that are really important to me on our property are history with the bucks. So I think it's awesome that we started killing bucks that we've known for 4 or 5 years. And then encounters, is another huge one, where it's like you encounter a buck that when he's really young, and you pass on him, and then he gets older, and that's just, I think that's pretty awesome. And we've had numerous occasions where guys have passed on bucks, and then later on we shoot them. I passed a nice deer that was sort of fringe last year, 11 point, and he'll be a shooter this year, and I hope somebody kills him. Whether it's me or somebody else, I hope somebody kills him, because it's just, it kind of, there's layers to the story, and it means more in a sense. And and he's a pretty buck, but that's kind of just the icing on the cake. I think when you start to prioritize age, you start to prioritize maturity, and then you start to layer in things that really are more controllable. The neighbor can shoot the deer. I mean, I don't think it's a you can't control the neighbors. I mean, it's probably a good idea to have a relationship with them and kind of see what their goals are in terms of management, but I don't think you should make decisions based on what the neighbor's shooting, because I do think a lot of the times we're talking about the neighbor and we are the neighbor to somebody else. I like to tell people, like, you're the neighbor to somebody else. So just keep that in mind. Like, to somebody else, you may be shooting a buck they're passing. And in the grand scheme of things, does that matter to me? No, not really. I think you should make a plan for the group of guys you're hunting with, and, you know, try and work the plan. But I did want to add, I mean, I've been kind of talking about what it looks like and how much different elements of this whole thing frustrate me. But at the end of the day, like, if you are trying to grow bigger deer, chase bigger deer, maturity is the best way to do that. Like, maturity is the best, most controllable way. Like, you can choose not to shoot a buck. That, now, like I said, the neighbor can shoot him, a different guy in your club can shoot him, but you can make the choice. I'm not going to shoot this buck, and he's just not. Odds are, when they get to that fringe age, they're not going to walk in front of that many people. Now, if they're 3 years old, they could still be really dumb and walking in front of everyone, walking out on a power line. And if they walk out on that power line, they're going to die. That's not our property. So if there's bucks laying in hearing distance of me, maybe they'll take that advice and live to be really old. Double thumbs up. All right, want to talk about this deer feed for a second. We got a couple comments online about, man, it looks pretty good, but it'd be better if you took the corn out of it, you know, watered it down with the corn. Here's the deal. Deer feed companies have controlled the narrative on what good deer feed and what bad deer feed looks like, okay? And they want you to believe that good deer feed, like high quality, off-season, growing deer feed, is protein pellet. That's what it looks like. It's got to just be loaded with protein pellet, all right? So the problem with that is, traditionally, you cannot get fat into a protein pellet. That's a big problem, which we believe fat is the most important thing you can get into a deer feed, because digestible energy is the most important thing that deer need in their diet. So you can't get fat into a protein pellet. It's tough to, it's really hard to. And then you really don't know what's in the pellet. A lot of times you're gonna be like what's in your favorite protein pellet feed mix. There's some good ones out there. I'm not saying they're all bad. We use protein pellet as a part of our mixes, but you don't know what mineral pack is put on it. A lot of times it's a mineral pack for cattle and not deer. Deer need different specific things, especially bucks, because they're growing antlers. Then it just a lot of times becomes a lot of different thrown away things that goes into that pressed pellet. All right, that's the way that they can get it down to a cheaper price. I was in a big box store the other day getting tannerite for a video we made, and they had deer feed in it. And we got to looking at it, and it was 18%. I think it was either 16 or 18% protein. It was 2% fat, and that is just disgusting. Like, they had it hid over in a corner, almost like they didn't want people to find it. Like that feed right there is 18% protein, 12% fat. And if you can find a growing feed that hits double digits, I'm not saying you got to buy ours, but find somebody that cares. A lot of times you have big companies that used to be great and they have a great name. I mean, I could name you a couple. They used to be really great, probably deer feed companies, but they've been bought by big conglomerates, and then I doubt any of the original people are there, or it's all about that right there. Fat is expensive. Peanuts are expensive. Roasted peanuts are even more expensive. That's why you don't find them in deer feed. And I know I'm on a soapbox, but people have started doing a lot of different corn and soybean mixes. The worst thing I'll put out today is triple grip, which is a pretty awesome mix. 12.5% protein, 9% fat still, and that's our attractional feed. It's just hard to find fat in feed, and it's hard to find companies that care about it or prioritize it. And I'm not a biologist, I'm not a wildlife biologist, I'm not a plant expert. I know you can get a lot of different quality stuff that you can plant, but when it comes to fat, it's a lot harder to find fat naturally available for your deer herd, especially in the time of year when they are growing their antlers. Because if you have a row crop, traditionally that's going to mature and they'll have access to the stuff they really need to pack on weight and then inches after the growing season, after velvet has stopped growing or started to split. If you look at acorns, that's going to be the same deal after velvet. So during the growing season, when they need extra nutrition, excess nutrition, we believe fat is huge because digestible energy is huge. And if you think there can't be great mixes without, only using protein pellets, you have been lied to. I'm sorry. They have told you a lie because they don't want to put fat in their feed. They don't want to have to pay for it. And it's sad, but a lot of the mixes out there are strictly protein pellet because it's really cheap to make. They're probably making a bunch of it for cattle anyways, and it's a big meal. And I should probably stop talking about this. I've done really good to this point, but we had a couple comments, and I'm just like, man, y'all don't understand, which half of, not understanding something is no one's ever taken the time to explain it to you. So there you go. I mean, I'm not going to call you dumb. You're just not educated or been misinformed on what it looks like to have great deer feed. And peanuts and roasted peanuts, roasted soybeans, we believe are a huge part of that. I don't really care if people think I'm dumb. I just don't want them to think I'm ignorant. I think being dumb is an indictment on me, and being ignorant would be more indictment on my upbringing or my parents. And they're just sweet people, so I don't want people to think about them that way. If dumb and ignorant are basically the same word, don't hold that against my parents either. I'm not sure any of the last 30 seconds that I said helped with what I was trying to accomplish. Okay, I have one thing to add because this really proves the point. We actually have a mix that has no protein pellet in it. It's not triple grip, but it's roasted peanuts, roasted soybeans, and corn. It's just a lot more of the first two. It's a 18% protein, 13% fat. And for a guy that thinks protein pellet is the only way to get good nutrition to a deer through deer feed, that just totally flips it on its head. I call it pellet-free protein. I mean, for guys with spin cast feeders, it's a dream because, you know, you're not going to have the pellet either swelling up because of rain or throwing it on the ground and it going bad. No protein pellet in it, 18% protein, 13% fat. And it's like, that just proves that you can achieve really high quality, great growing mixes without protein pellet. Okay, I'm done. Figured I might could find a water moccasin down in here. I don't see any. Just a whole bunch of deer trails. I mean, look at that. They climbing that straight up. I don't know where you stand on the whole feeding deer. I don't even call what we do baiting. I know a lot of people would, but if you shift it to a more high quality feeding program, the nutrition levels, in my opinion, are worth that supplemental feeding. It's for sure the best way to know when you pour out a bag of feed what's eating it. If you got a camera on it, you see it. But I'm pro getting nutrition if it's legal. I'm pro getting extra nutrition to your deer herd however you can. We normally plant forage soybeans in the spring because I also understand that deer are gonna be able to eat a lot more of those soybean leaves than they will a grain, which is going to be most of your deer feeds. It's specifically true with protein pellet as well. I mean, people don't talk about it, but that protein pellet, here I am talking about protein pellets again. That protein pellet for sure is the least natural thing that a deer could find in the wild versus corn, peanuts, and soybeans. But we plant in the spring. But for us, we're talking about a spring soybean plant being 10 acres planted on 1,100 acres of property. And if you have any type of similar setup to us, you know what that looks like. They're gonna hammer it. We do some cereal grains, wheat, oat, rye, like most people in the fall. We've shifted to trying to do some sort of bulb or tubers, definitely clover, that can have extended benefit into the spring. We'll put a exclusion cage on a field, you know, this big, let's say 2 to 3 feet around, and the leaves, the stalks on those forage soybeans will grow out the top of the exclusion cage until they lay over the exclusion cage and deer start to eat the leaves. And then, so that's 7 feet basically. And then inside the, or outside the cage in the field where we planted it, it'll be just mowed to the dirt, right? They're regenerative, so they should be growing back, but the deer are eating them so heavy that even with that much tonnage growing from the stalks inside the cage, it can't keep up with the deer pressure. And I know parts of Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, maybe Mississippi, Florida, the deer density gets so high that it's going to be nearly impossible to grow enough food on leased property. If you own it, then you can set up bigger fields. I mean, we probably need to be planting 5-acre soybean fields in the spring, and that's not a realistic option for us. I've said it before, but our biggest field is going to be just over 2 acres, maybe 2.25 acres, and that just won't get it done. So I set up, ribbons, and I'll spray them. You see how much I come down here. I'll spray them every week, every other week, to try and keep them off. Try and build them to where there's depth, but it's tough. So deer feed has become a really great option for us. Everybody's going to be different on goals and budget. I definitely think for the money, you're going to get more out of planning something, but for the 100% guaranteed this is going straight to the deer, I think a feeding program becomes part of what you have to consider, and depending on where you're at in the country. Like I said, if it's legal, chances are at this point in the vlog, there's nobody left that doesn't believe you should feed deer. If you are, props to you, because we live in a world where it's hard to agree with anyone on 100% of the opinions they're going to have, and for sure hunting is falling into that discussion as well, and it's just hard to agree with every person on everything. But I've said it before, you can't learn everything from one person, but you can learn one thing from literally anyone. If someone started hunting 2 years ago, you start to talk and hearing stuff they talk about, whether it's something they did wrong, something they got lucky and had go right for them. I think you can learn from anyone, especially people that are passionate about it and actually care about it. So, all right, that's the last time I want to talk about protein pellets today. Promise. Got to walk out. We made it a little stretch, then we got to overheating again. I don't want to mess it up, so we got maybe 1,000 yards. Not too bad today. We got the batteries secure in the plastic bag because I don't want to carry them. We are gonna carry the case. Everything else stays. Bad batteries, trash, shovel, snake, wrangler. Obviously, Kubota stays. So, as excited as I was to start the day, we really ended on a low point. But the vibes are high. I don't even know what that means, but we're staying positive. We're walking out. It's times like these that really make you question, like, if we don't kill any of these bucks this year, like, was it worth it? But we will. It'll be worth it. Oh. So the no windshield is nice when it's really hot, because you basically Got makeshift old school air conditioner, but we're getting soaked riding. Hindsight is now would have been a better time to do the questions, but we didn't know it was going to rain, so it could happen at any moment.